our hands together for Mr. Chris J. Reed.
Special Mike. Thank you very much for coming. And thank you. Yes, I'm going to pick on you lot. Yes, you're going to pay attention as well? Yes, good. Okay, good. Thank you very much for coming and taking the time out from your lunchtime. And hopefully you get a lot out of this. This is very much for you, so ask questions along the way. And to reward you, I have prizes. So I'm going to give away a book for every single intelligent question. I've got 15 books to give away, and the questions can't be, can I get a book, please? Has to be a real question, okay? So we've got 15 books, so think about your questions. You can ask them at any time. So get out of this, and if you basically want to ask a question and you don't want to do it in front of somebody else, just make it on LinkedIn afterwards, or come and see me or Matthew afterwards. Are you leaving? Is it something I said? Seriously? So, listen to me though. I mean, it's a great introduction, but you may not have heard of me, for example, so why listen to me? Well, I've been in Singapore for 10 years, and I started using LinkedIn because I did not know a single person when I first came here. So I started using LinkedIn to network, and I actually was an entrepreneur in the UK, but my business didn't transfer over here, so I needed to get a job over here. So I started using LinkedIn basically to network, and say, who do you know that I can meet, who do you know? And I got my first, my second, and my third jobs in Singapore by just networking on LinkedIn. So it's a great lesson for everybody else here to actually understand that it's not just about recruitment and about having a CV up there, it's about actually using it for networking and connecting and networking that way. So basically, I now have 750 LinkedIn recommendations of people who've actually said, we do a great job, which is fantastic because that's not just me saying we do a great job at Black Marketing, it's actually 750 other people saying the same thing. And a bit like a TripAdvisor review, for example, your restaurants, your pubs, your cafes are all sustained based on referrals and recommendations. You always ask your friends, who's the best at this, or what do you think of that restaurant? We also won the LinkedIn Power Profile Award 7 times running, which is basically awarded by LinkedIn itself for the most engaged, the most viewed profiles. And normally they are people like Piyush Gupta, for example, DBS's CEO, because he gets all the views and engagement anyway. It's harder for an SME. It's harder for someone like yourself to actually get that kind of engagement. You have to work a lot harder. We also win lots of awards. We just won the best B2B marketing agency in Asia Pacific, for example, beating some very, very big names. We also won best brand as well. So we win lots of awards, and we got the 3 books. So the first book was LinkedIn Mastery, which is an international bestseller, which you can win a copy of today. Second one is about personal branding. You notice I changed the hair color. I get very bored of my hair color, so change the hair color all the time. Third book, back to the blue, is Social Selling Mastery. And that's about socially selling yourself. Because you're all socially selling yourself, whether you like it or not, whether you use Facebook or Instagram or YouTube or WeChat or whatever, it's actually you're selling yourself. And we have the 5 brands. We have Black, we have Social Selling, we have Dark, and we have, of course, Mohawk Marketing, and we have Mastery. So we have 5 different brands that taps into LinkedIn. So why is LinkedIn so important? Well, when I Google someone, the first thing that comes up, for example, like Christine, is her LinkedIn profile. I don't even have to put LinkedIn to find it. So if you Google yourselves and you have a LinkedIn profile, your LinkedIn profile will come up top. So I get a positive impression of Christine, or, for example, this person here, in terms of the background picture and how they want to present themselves. That's your first impression of your personal brand. So you have to really think about what impression you want to give somebody when they put onto your LinkedIn profile. Is it positive? Is it negative? Does it tell your brand story? Same thing with Nanyang Polytechnic. I hope you're all following the LinkedIn company page. How many people, interestingly, are following the page? Put your hands up. There's one person that's following the page. That's terrible. Who controls your company page? You really need to sort this out. Do you control your company page? I mean, you should follow the company page. So why LinkedIn? Well, LinkedIn's the only professional network in the whole of the world. And it's the only one in China, which is obviously very important for Singapore. So it has 50 million users in China. It's now up to 600 million people, but the growth is in Asia. Since I've been to Asia, it's grown from 10 million to 100 million, 150 million, 200 million. And the growth is all over here. It's all in India and China and Indonesia, and even Singapore. Singapore has 2.3 million LinkedIn people. 2.3 million, it's pretty amazing when you consider that if you take away the construction workers and the domestic helpers and the cabbies and the juniors and the seniors, that's virtually every single person who has a white collar job in Singapore. So that's why you guys need to be on LinkedIn. because people are now using it for recruitment. They're not using CVs, they're not using things like JobsBank, they're actually using LinkedIn. But LinkedIn's very much a gamification platform. So what that means is that you have to put into something to get something out of it. It's a bit like TripAdvisor. You write a review on TripAdvisor, they send you a little note saying, thank you, here have 100 points. And your level is now 74 or 76 restaurant critics. Same on LinkedIn. You get rewarded for doing things on LinkedIn. You get punished for not doing things. So your rankings will raise by doing things. Just by doing things on the app, for example, you'll actually increase your rankings. And I like this quote, obviously not because I like James Blunt, because I'm wearing a Metallica t-shirt, and no one would admit to liking James Blunt in a Metallica t-shirt. But I like it because it's about LinkedIn. I'm self-deprecating because I'm British, which I am. If I was American, I would tell you how great I was. Because Americans do this, they go around the world telling them they invented everything. And they didn't. But on LinkedIn, they tell everybody they invented and they did this, and they have the gene in them, they have a DNA which says promote, 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 promote. You have to look at who the President of the United States is to understand that. But British people and Asians and Australians have more modesty. They want to do things together. But the trouble is, LinkedIn's not a together network, it's your network, it's about your profile. So if you don't say things on LinkedIn, you're going to get pushed behind, you're going to get beaten by somebody else, and there'll be some American who comes along and gets your job, or invests in that company, or wins that client. So you have to beat the Americans. And obviously being English, I like to beat the Americans, almost as I like to beat the French. That's another matter. Anyway, 4 ways of actually marketing yourself on LinkedIn. One's about personal branding, it's about you. Second thing's about content marketing, so I'm going to talk a bit about that today as well, because you can all do a content marketing plan. Third one's about company branding, slightly less relevant. And the fourth one's about socially selling yourself. So we start with the first one, your personal brand, the visual impression. What does this say to you? It's the Joker. But he gives a virtual impression. You know, you see the brand values, disruption and chaos. He's got this very distinctive hair and very distinctive looks. But you all have a positive impression too. You all have personal branding values too. So I show you Steve here, who's on Fox Sports, for example. He has a distinctive personal brand too, but he's gone big on the fact he's also a coach. So he does Fox Sports, but he's also a coach. He wants you to know that he's a coach. If I show you Karen here, Karen is the GPS girl. So have you ever wondered who the woman is who says recalculating, it's Karen. And I actually met her a few weeks ago in Auckland. And she's built an entire career on having a personal brand where she's on 2 billion devices. Her voice is the voice of GPS and also Siri. So pretty amazingly, she doesn't get paid very much for doing that, but she leverages it on her personal brand, which is fantastic. I'll show you Steve here. Steve wants to be known for burgers and in Melbourne. Just that's it. Burgers in Melbourne, even to the point where he's got a burger picture and he's got a bottle of milk. That's it. That's his brand values. That's his personal branding. And I show you Sophia the robot, who I actually happened to meet in Hong Kong. She also has a LinkedIn personal profile because she has a personal brand too. So don't do this, because as much as I might aspire one day to being George Clooney, I'm not. So I can't sell you Nespresso. And Jonathan here should really not be going around with a headless area, because headless people don't get very far in jobs and careers and personal branding. And this is what I call your Facebook photograph. You're down the hawker centre having a few beers and someone says to you, why don't you dress as a panda? You've had a few beers, you think, why not? Somebody else says, let's put a picture of you on a panda on your LinkedIn. You think, oh, why not? And then you regret it in the morning. Don't do that. Which one's Melita? Eeny, meeny, miny, mo, I don't know. You can't create a relationship with someone if you don't know who that person is. Birds. Why would you use birds on your LinkedIn profile? I've seen animals like tigers and dolphins and sharks, and why would you do that? And why would you do this? I'm just not really communicating what your personal brand is there. You're just communicating he's hungry or something. All this. He could not decide which picture to use, so he used all his pictures in one go. Not a great look. And Elizabeth here went for the full Tinder look. She couldn't decide, she put a Tinder picture on. She thought that'd be fine. Apart from the fact she works for a very small company called the Hyatt Hotel Group, and she's in charge of human resources. That's not a great look for someone in charge of human resources. And this isn't a great look either. Why would you hide your face? That's a common thing. Marketing people particularly do this all the time, think it's clever. It's not clever. Stupid. And don't do this. For obvious reasons, not least if you actually live in China and you want to live for the next 5 years. It's not a great idea applying for a job as Donald Trump in China at the moment.